Hey everyone, Dan Saavedra here from mergerdata.com, and today we're going to be going over the analytics that are available for custom behavioral events inside of HubSpot. So there are a few features that you can utilize to see exactly what's going on with your custom behavioral events and what it looks like in context of your actual HubSpot instance. So first, what I'm going to do is show you how custom behavioral events show up on the timeline of contacts and what you can do with that type of information. So there's a filter drop-down option here for custom behavioral events. So you can select that to see exactly what logged to that specific contact. And so you can see we have a couple here with the time that it happened and then some of the properties that HubSpot captured with that event. And so you'll be able to see the different properties if you have, let's say, custom properties from a JavaScript event that you configured, then it'll show up here on the activity timeline for your contact. So it's good to be able to go back and see exactly where this event occurred and any other associated information in context. But if we want to see more of an aggregate view of the custom behavioral event and all of the different types of interactions that we had over time, how that performance is, then we would go to the custom behavioral events section of your portal that's in reporting, data management, custom behavioral events. If you have Marketing Hub Enterprise, if you don't, you won't be able to see this because it's not a feature set for the professional and starter hubs or starter versions of Marketing Hub. But once you're in here, you'll be able to click on a couple tabs up here. We went over the health one in another video when we were configuring the custom JavaScript events, just because you would be able to see delivered with errors and fails, which can happen when you're not using the visual builder. But there's also analyze here, and then there's completions as well. So completions is going to give you more of a summarized breakdown of all of your different custom behavioral events and how many times they've been completed and by how many unique visitors there have been. So this is our test instance. These are the test events that we set up. And so you can see we have 3 different unique visitors and 7 completions about these events. So it's more of an aggregate view that you can look at for all of your custom events. You can modify the date range as well. So it can be a rolling date range, custom date range, or any of the preset options here. Let's do this. I'll do just this week instead. So it includes today as well. And so you can see that that changes as I select the different options. Now, if you have a lot of custom events, then what you can do is you can search them here. So you can find them a little bit quicker. Otherwise, you can sort like any table inside of HubSpot. The next section that we'll go to is the Analyze section. And so this is similar to a lot of the other standard analytics tools inside of HubSpot. So if you have used the analytics tools in this part of your portal here, I'll just open up real quick. It's pretty similar to what you'll see in a lot of these other analytics breakdowns, especially when it comes to the traffic analytics. There's a lot of line charts, a lot of breakdowns by table, and it's similar with the custom behavioral events here. So you can see, once again, we can filter by anything that we want. We can change the frequency if we want to look at it aggregated in a week or month time frame instead of a day time frame. And then you'll just be able to see that visualization over time. And last but not least, we can go down here to the table and see the breakdown, which is going to be exactly the same as the completions tab up here. So honestly, I just go to the Analyze tab. This is a lot easier to look at things that are happening. Provides the entire breakdown, and then we can just slice and dice from there. And so one other thing that you can do, if I remember correctly, is you can actually go to the custom report builder from a very specific view inside of the custom behavioral event. So if I go back to overview, and then let's say I select our about page view, we'll also get some additional views in terms of the analytics behind the event. So number 1, you'll see an overview here, which is basically just a log of all the times this event happened. And so you can filter this by rolling date ranges and other preset date ranges as well. You can also see the property info, so all of the properties that the actual event is capturing here, what the internal name is, when it was created and updated. You can filter by creator and by property types. But then if you go over here to analyze, you'll see that a new option pops up. So number one, we'll have our summarized information that we saw on the other pages, and then we'll see the completions over time as well. But you can click on this open in custom report builder. And then basically what that's going to do is exactly what it says. We'll open this specific event in custom report builder. And this is where it becomes much more powerful because we can start adding in additional metrics, additional dimensions and filters and breakdowns, and change the chart type and get a lot more powerful with our reporting on the custom behavioral events. Now, the last thing to note, this feature is in public beta right now, but you can also do this from the custom report builder in general. If we go to reporting and go to reports, then we'll be able to do create report in the top right. And then what we'll want to do is we'll want to create this from scratch, and we'll want to choose the custom report builder here. One other note is that you can also add the behavioral events in the customer journey. And we'll go into that after we break down this custom report builder option here. So when you're in this section here, you'll see that the primary data source is contacts, which is great. And then we'll also be able to just search here instead on the page, since it's a little bit faster to find. But we'll search here for custom. Search isn't, it's right down here in the bottom left. So in the other section, you'll see custom behavioral events, and then you'll be able to select that and click on next. And so now we're just back into the standard custom report builder. We can choose the custom behavioral events here. And then we also see some of the properties here from the about page view event that we have. Now, if you change this, let's see if we change it to JavaScript test. I want to see if the custom property is in here. So this is a newer feature, and this is something that's really useful. You can actually use custom properties that you created in the event to build reports on now. Hopefully they'll add that to workflows as well. But we created this page submitted on event property in the JavaScript builder, and now we'll be able to use that to filter our reports on. So once again, this is exactly like building any other report in HubSpot. I'm not going to go into the details of it. You can get creative with it. You can filter by associated objects. So if you want to add in deals here, this is a good way to do some cross-object reporting, since we can't put custom behavioral events onto deals as of right now. So you'll at least be able to see the associated contacts that have those behavioral events. So that really opens up the power of the custom behavioral events and what you can do with them. Now, I'm going to go back here to the customer journey reports and create that instead, just to show you that that's an option as well. So we're back to this page. We click on customer journey reports, and then we're going to leave our data source as contacts. Click on next. And then if we scroll all the way down to the bottom left here, you can see that we can then add the custom behavioral event in part of the customer journey and see how that contributes to the contacts conversion overall. And so I dropped on some steps here in the journey so that you can kind of see exactly how you would build this out and what type of things you can see. So I put this about page view custom behavioral event as stage 1, and then form submission as stage 2. We only have one conversion in our test instance here, so you can't really see much, but HubSpot will give you some pretty interesting information in terms of the steps, in terms of the average amount of time it took to go from one step to another. So I know we talked in a previous video about capturing the amount of time spent on a page. This might be another way to estimate that without having to build the code out for it. So if you string together custom behavioral events that should happen in sequence, you'll be able to get an average estimate of, okay, like they maybe spent 15 seconds on the page before clicking on this next button, for example. So page load would be one event, and then you would have clicking on a book a call button, and you can see, okay, they spent 2 minutes on the page before clicking that actual button. So you can get really creative here with the reporting and analytics behind the custom behavioral events. It takes a little bit of work just because you do have to use the custom report builder for the most part, but you can do cross object reporting, you can do journey reporting. It's something that you should definitely play around with, and it'll be really useful in terms of understanding the customer journey and where you can optimize things and see where people are falling off or converting. So I'm Dan Saavedra from mergerdata.com. We do this type of data work in HubSpot all the time. So this is the type of stuff that we'll end up building out for clients. Hopefully you found this useful and can bring it back to your own day-to-day work. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.